Hey there, are you ready to build a fitness business that becomes a true income producing asset? Then I welcome you to the Fitness Business Freedom Show, brought to you by Fitness Revolution. I am your host, Justin Hanover, and we have over 15 years of experience building thriving fitness businesses, and we are committed to sharing our knowledge and expertise with you. You can expect to hear proven business foundations and frameworks, success stories from our coaching partners, and guest experts to give you straight answers for your biggest questions. It doesn't matter if you have an online business, fitness facility, or operate as an independent trainer. You are in the right place to grow your business and create the personal freedom you desire. Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Justin Hanover, success coach with Fitness Revolution. And before we dive on and bring on today's guest, I want to share a little bit about what you can expect to hear and who I have joining me. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Roger Bielicke. Roger's experience includes 24 years with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, where he led business intelligence for their used car sales division. Like he did for Enterprise, Roger created Unleash Insight so small to medium-sized companies can play Moneyball too, by adding science to the art of decision-making that results in cutting, wasting, and unlocking opportunities. Unleash Insight's primary niche is supporting multi-location companies. Their services include market research, location planning, market optimization, talent studies, and leadership scorecards. Playing Moneyball serves two of Roger's values in community and fairness. Community in that teamwork rules and the data insights can help coach the team to more winning outcomes. Fairness by ensuring performance evaluations consider the opportunity each team or person is provided. So are you giving your business the best possible shot to succeed? Do you know if you should expand in your area or not? Powerful questions that you can answer when you know how to properly do market research and let the numbers guide you. If you are thinking about opening your first location, second location, or possibly relocating, then knowing your market is vital, and that is exactly what we dive in to today's conversation with Roger. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get this started and bring Roger on. Today's episode is brought to you by Fitness Revolution. So you started your fitness business and you've been in the game now for a few years. You might have even seen some good growth over those years, but now you feel stuck. You feel like the momentum you once had just isn't there and you don't know how to get it back. Should you be focusing on your marketing, your sales, or your team? What is the next bottleneck to focus on that will allow you to break the chains holding you back? That is a great question, and one of the biggest skills as an owner is to be able to understand and identify the next biggest issue to keep your business moving. And that is exactly why Fitness Revolution has created our proprietary needs assessment to allow you to quickly see where your business stacks up and receive immediate feedback on what to focus on next. It's a quick 10-question assessment that will be able to provide valuable feedback to get past sticking points and hit your next goal. Whether you are stuck, feeling frustrated with the current progress, or just want to dial in what's working, this assessment is the first step to making that happen. I invite you to head over to the show notes where a direct link to the needs assessment will be so you can easily access it there. Now, let's jump into today's show. Roger, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend it with us, sharing your insights with other gym owners and fitness professionals to help them grow on their journey.
Justin, thank you for having me on.
It's truly our pleasure. So I like to always start with giving our listeners some perspective as to who we're talking to and being able to hear your journey. So if you can give us that 1,000-foot overview of how you became the Roger that we're speaking with today.
Certainly. Actually, accounting, CPA background. I fortunately fell upon a company called Enterprise Rent-A-Car and spent 24 years there. I like to say I was always a creative accountant. I like to be on the building and development of things, and I was fortunate in the second half of my career. I moved over to the Enterprise car sale division where we sold a lot of our past rental and leasing cars and aspects, and it actually worked out well because it was just a couple years before the 2000 recession hit. And when that recession hit, leadership realized that, hey, we had a really bad business model. And then that's where I kind of got pulled in. I led the business intelligence for the division, so I started pulling data and showing some things, and things like, hey, you know what? if we sell at least a minimum of 50 cars, we can make good profit and we can pay our people well and do well. So that kind of set a new Mendoza line that, hey, everybody's got to sell 50 cars. And at that time, we only had probably 10% of the dealerships selling 50. But then from there, we just started doing location planning strategies based on data, hours and staffing evaluations, and just evaluating KPIs. Bottom line, I just help support leadership's vision of to get these larger, bigger scale dealerships, and the data helps support us to get there. I believe it helped us get us faster and get the buy-in from the teams. That, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it was in the first 4 years as we're doing this, sales per store improved 50% and profits quadrupled. And I know since I left Enterprise 5 years ago, they're almost going to double sales here since then. So it's a big thing where it's I just believe it's kind of fun. I'm always been a math is my strength, and I'm a data guy. It just adds science to the art of business and just kind of helps support the leadership that just seeing some things you may not see just from the artistic point of view.
Yeah, definitely. So you were the one behind that shift. I remember that shift when they started selling the cars and everything, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because really rental's the main thing at Enterprise. But 40 years ago, they said, hey, we could if we could start selling some of these retail instead of selling them all wholesale, we could make some more money. Plus, the more cars we take out of the wholesale market, it'll help us get more money for those at wholesale. But it was just kind of an offshoot, and they just started setting up little itty bitty lots, connected to a rental office, and then finally realized, think about it yourself. When you want to go look at a car, you want to have some selection.
Yes.
And if you got this lot with 30, 40 cars, by the time you narrow it down to, hey, do I want an SUV, car, or truck? Do I want large, medium, small? There's not many options left. So I think they just realized that, hey, we needed to get to these bigger footprints because people want options. People need selection. You got to give your folks an opportunity for the right car. At the end of it, it's really helping. I still remember leadership said, hey, you know what? We're going to be able to drive this business forward a lot more if we can, set up a store where we're paying a manager six figures than if we're paying them, $70,000, $80,000. We can get better people by getting, let's make this a six-figure position, but we can only do that if we're making enough money per dealership.
Definitely. That's fantastic. And obviously it all comes down to, like you said, looking at the data to be able to make these decisions, and it's not just coming from a place of emotion.
Yeah, and that's where, a couple of the things, it was kind of a two-phase approach initially, like with we started with location planning because that's kind of a foundation. Because I look at it, locations are really two reasons why a location doesn't succeed. Either one, you put it in a place where you didn't give yourself enough opportunity, or you don't have the right leadership in place. It's kind of as simple as that. And the data just helped with that because one of the first things we did is, hey, we looked at a lot of the locations that, hey, you know what, we simply put it in a spot, all things being equal, would you rather be around 10,000 chances or 5,000 chances? Well, you're more likely to succeed if you get 10,000 chances in your area.
Yes, absolutely.
The other risk is, hey, I still remember we'd have two really, decent dealerships, but then we put another one right in the middle, and the old cannibalization factor. And I hear that from a lot of franchise owners today that, hey, I'm doing everything I can, but I think they put a couple other franchises too close to me, and I'm looking at the map. I'm like, yes, definitely, you're getting cannibalized because one of the big things with location planning is you got to be careful not to put stores too close to each other because great, you could we added that dealership, and great, it sold 50 cars, but it took 20 from two of the other dealerships.
Yeah. So it's really not growth.
Net 10 is not a profitable business model.
No, definitely not. So I want to push into that a little bit more with like the whole like data collection and basically market research. Like obviously that's a big part of when creating your marketing plan and like your actual approach. So could you break down exactly like what market research is and kind of demystifying that and like kind of like the metrics that are valuable?
Yeah, for sure. And a couple methodologies. One of the big one first is let's talk about location planning because that's kind of a foundation there. And that's where I think the big thing is you're trying to understand your target audience, and then also what is your primary coverage. First target audience is and I've worked with a couple fitness clients, and everybody's a little bit different. Some, one is I had, for example, one worked with was primarily focused on females that were probably in their 40s and 50s. Another one was mostly focused on single people that were in their 20s and 30s. So by there you can start analyzing and looking at the opportunity that both of those locations had different opportunity in the marketplace, had different areas, and the markets were better for each one. Was varied depending on because of their target audience varied quite a bit. Another key aspect is that primary coverage. I think most people, and it's funny because I always ask people this question is, hey, how far do you think people will come to you in your primary coverage? And they almost always overstate it. And both a couple of these clients always say that. You're like, oh my gosh, I thought, they go 15, 20 minutes. And then I came back and showed that, well, really we got two audiences. There is the local residential community, and then you have the commercial business community that may be people that work in the area. And what we found is the people that did come, there are some that come 15, 20 minutes away, but actually most of those were actually only coming to you because they worked in the area, or they had taken care of a relative in the area. We did some surveys in that to confirm all that. And one of the key things I see where people make the mistake is they'll look at where all their people come from, and I say as you're looking at location planning, you need to narrow it down, because I'll show that, hey, you need to look at, I call it the theory of opportunity, that too often we look at just the numerator. We need to look at the denominator of how many chances, and when you bring that denominator in and look at market share, you'll see that, I'm just using it as an example, hey, we have 5% market share from 0 to 6 minutes. From 6 to 12 minutes, hey, we still got 4% market share, but outside 12 minutes, it falls off a roof below 1%. Wow. And that's my thing is trying to think is, hey, we got to be careful not to count those, because as you get too far out, you can't count that as a potential market. I call that a secondary market. Hey, we're not going to turn them away. We're happy to get people 15, 20 minutes away. Yeah. But when you're trying to plan and figure out where to put that location, people are only going to go so far to work out. That takes time out of your day. That you want somewhere close, that you really need some pretty good density typically around your area, density of your target audience.
Definitely. So what are you actually using to get that type of information and collect that data?
I have some mapping software, and with that there's a variety of things you can get. There's census demographic data that you can use. There's some lifestyle data that's available. Sometimes it's important too to put competition in there. That's another metric you use to say, hey, we're all things being equal, you probably want to go in the area that has less competition. Definitely, you got to start with actually too is the client's customer data. You start with your own customer data, because first you got to learn. It's kind of a first step process. Is let's confirm and understand who our target audience is. And using that census data to kind of help with that, but really understand your customers. And it's neat because sometimes the fun part about this, it opens up opportunity as well. Because one of the clients talked about how he was mostly focused on 20s and 30s, and I came back to him and showed him, you know what? I know that by numerator you don't have many people in the 40s, but where your existing locations are, there's not many people in their 40s there. You actually have a really good market share there. And your retention on the 40-year-olds is actually even better than those on the 30s and 20s. So one of the ways you can grow is, hey, you expand your market that showed him that, hey, his target audience can not just be 20s and 30s, but could also be 40-year-olds as well. And the data helps support that to show that, hey, your market share in that age range is very good. And we actually check retention as well, because that's important. One of the key things that I'm helping several clients who are going through this is the other key is, hey, it's not about just new members or new customers. It's about your goal isn't to get a new member. Your goal is to get a loyal members that's sticking around.
Yes. So
one of the keys we do is when we look at your customer database, we focus on loyal members. We don't want to attract a bunch of the people that are coming and leaving you in 2 or 3 months. We want to figure out what is that target audience on those people that are sticking with you and are loyal to you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely very true.
Yeah.
So, is there, I guess, anyway for maybe the average small business owner that's trying to figure out or get better information or better data? let's say they don't maybe have access to the same software that you have, is there any way to at least start getting something to work off of to make better decisions?
I think some of I believe some of the small business administration offices provide some of that data free. They provide some of that census data. Okay. You might be able to find some of it online in Google searching. But one thing I would suggest is, check out with your local small business association that they might have some things to kind of help provide some guidance on some of that.
And now, is there any truth to? I've heard some people talk about how like maybe if you have like a franchise that's in your area that's similar to the demographic that you're serving or somewhat near it, is it kind of safe to bet that area is probably a good area to be in since they're there?
Yeah, I think you definitely can look at that. You could definitely see that, hey, if they're there, if you don't have that capability, and you could kind of see that, hey, they're probably doing some of this planning. I definitely think that's a position to start. I mean, we would do that at Enterprise. We'd say, hey, here's an area. Oh, CarMax is there, and shockingly, it would fit right there. CarMax is there. We'd always laugh because we had Google Maps out, and we'd be up in the sky, and we could see a blue roof, and we're like, go down there and bet it's CarMax, and boom, it's CarMax. So we're like. And then we go back and look at the data. It's like, yeah, CarMax knew what they were doing. They put their locations in the right spots. So yeah, that is a good point. That is, if you don't have that capabilities, because to do that, sometimes you definitely want to see where some of those bigger players are going, because hopefully they might be doing some of those analytics themselves. Another interesting way for market research is I call it as a learning from the way people search Google. I've done some work where I've done some research projects that, hey, we research and do some research based on how users are searching online. And two key things we're looking there is, one, we break it into, hey, based on the way they search, or is this my primary audience? Is this a secondary audience? Or is this out of market? And that's key is just, for example, if, for the one that was focused on women, that, hey, we know the primary market was anyone that was searching, hey, certain fitness things for women. Hey, that's primary market. If somebody just says, hey, gym near me, well, that's secondary market because we don't know if they're a male or female. It just helps you kind of segregate. And what you find is and then you can go start. I do this, and you can just look at it as an example. I'll use their Google ad spend to kind of verify this information. If they're spending money on Google Ads, you'll see that, hey, the return on primary audience will be like, hey, 10 new members per $1,000. Secondary audience might be 3 new members, and the out of market will be 0. You'd be surprised as how much your money is wasted in the wrong areas. In your ad spend. The second thing the research does is help identify. We track it by customer journey. Where's the customer in their journey? That if someone's looking like, hey, just some fitness ideas, that's kind of that top of the funnel type things that those are harder. You're trying to pull them into your market. That's there's good marketing opportunities there, but they're not yet ready to buy typically. Hey, people that are looking at products and actually fitness companies, those people are more middle down, get down the funnel, and those looking at certain brands. It helps you understand the market and where our customers. And I just did some work on the fitness industry. In the fitness industry, there's not too many people super top of the funnel. We've all been working out most of our lives, so we're not, most of us are pretty aware. Yeah. But there are some people looking at options. There's a lot of people looking at product and companies and gyms near me. And the trend is, the good news is for people with physical locations, since COVID, the last 2 years, there is a lot more searches of people looking for gym near me. Our yoga studio near me. People are looking to get back out and see, get back out to physical locations for their fitness needs. He was looking at it, changing his marketing agency after some assessments, and we're talking to some other agencies. One of the first one said, hey, we could do it for $2,500 a month. You start seeing these big numbers, and just for organic, and I'm just like, okay, hold on a second. Do you even know if you could win? Because they're saying, hey, we're going to just help you there, and it's like, okay, are you sure that you're going to win? From a location standpoint, one of the things that I always get weary about is, a buddy of mine called, and there might be this place in a strip mall, and that's like, okay, to me that's a red flag, because you're kind of letting the real estate pin where you go rather than you leading the way. My philosophy with location planning is you get the data, and in your market, you should already know, well, how many locations can I fit in here long term and about what areas? And to me, you go tell the real estate, hey, I want to be in, hey, this area XYZ. Now find me the right location in this area. So versus kind of, you want to find your right target area first and then go from there. And then I think this, with the marketing aspect, I think I always say there's 4 keys for marketing, and this is where I challenge challenge yourself, or if you got a marketing agency helping, making sure you're both on the same page, that you need these 4 things. One, do we have the right target audience? That are we focused on? That's the right. Are you men or women, or hey, the demographic? If you're a high-end place, you don't need to be sending ads to people that are under, making less than $50,000. So are those settings put up there? You'd be surprised how often these things aren't. I just recently had a client that's focused in Missouri and Illinois, and their agency was bidding on terms of, hey, this product in Canada was spent 35% of things, and that was a digital marketing expert. So just don't assume your agency
that's crazy
has this nailed down. I mean, there was complete ways. So that's one, target audience. 2 is, hey, messaging. You want to match the messaging to where that customer is in the customer journey. So if somebody's looking for, hey, what are some fitness strategies in that? You want to speak to that language, and that's different than if someone's looking for a gym near me. Your message is different depending where they're at in their customer journey. The next place is channels. Hey, what are the right channels? Google paid ads may not be right for everybody. Hey, Facebook, Facebook might be good for consumers, but I got a client that does some stuff to consumers and some stuff B2B, but Facebook's probably not the right answer for B2B. And even on B2B, another good example here of target audience is, hey, B2B, should your ads be running 24/7? I think most business owners are probably in bed by 9 o'clock. So, so I just, once again, I had an agency that's running, and they're usually working Monday through Friday. So if you start sending ads out to people on the weekends or at 2 in the morning, that's probably not your clientele. So, but that third piece is, hey, are the right channels. And then the fourth piece is winning their trust, 1, on your website, and then 2, in your sales process. How are those aligned? I always think about your website should be aligned to that customer journey. One of my things, if I see a website start with "About Us" as the first thing at the top of the that concerns me, because they always say messaging should be about the customer and their pains, and not about you. So I always say, hey, that "About Us" section, you need it, but that should be to the far right. Answer the customer's questions first, and then as they slide down, they're going to want to look and learn about you to see if you're the right fit. So you usually need those 4 things all churning together to really optimize your marketing efforts. And another thing, a red flag, as I see, is if someone's, from a marketing metric standpoint, if people are just talking about website traffic and cost per click and impressions, what's your goal? Your goal is to get loyal members. At the end of the day, that's the measure. And there's 2 ways to get more loyal members. You either get more productivity and get more loyal members per the money you spend, or you spend more money. Simple as that. And that's the key thing. I just had an example here again where a client, they had a big spike last year in website traffic, and it was like a 280% increase in traffic by the agency from the prior year, and that was one of their big, oh great, we're really helping get traffic. Well, then we filtered it for just what was the traffic in the United States, and that growth went down to 200%. Then we put hey, what about in just Missouri and Illinois? This client's only in Missouri and Illinois. Website traffic actually went down 17%. So it's just like, just make sure you got to really focus on your targeting audience as a key thing, and making sure you're understanding the right metrics. So, and at the end of the day, for one big key for me is, from a KPIs perspective and running your business, I think too often we have too much information out there, and the focus is trying to get to, in my opinion, you should be able to run your business from a 1-page summary. Yes, there's additional reports, but you only go there if you need them. Because, hey, if your marketing's doing well and you're getting, let's just say you're happy getting 50 new loyal members every month, do you need to know anything else about marketing? If you're happy and it's growing, what else do you need to know?
Yeah.
To your point as an owner, right? You just want to know, are we growing and getting better? Or if we're not, if we're not, now I got to dig into the next, let me go to the further in and understand why we're not, why aren't we at 50? Why are we only at 20 this month? Or,
Yeah.
If that helps.
No, yeah. No, definitely. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess I want to still, like, sit on that topic a little bit more on helping people understand how to, like, if, like you said, like, if they have the capabilities of winning organically, like, I guess I just want to like really make that super clear because like that's definitely like a big approach to a lot of people is the organic, which I mean could rightfully be so if they haven't necessarily dialed in their actual approach and they don't want to waste money on like paid ads or something like that until they actually have their offer figured out. So maybe let's speak to that person that's in that place that like hasn't actually figured out everything yet, but they need to start getting out there obviously. So like. Where like how like I don't know, maybe just you don't have to use the name of your client, but like maybe the area that they were in, like how did you like what would they use for their search terms or make sure that is on their website, whatever, to make sure that they show up and like how would they know that that's going to be a good term?
Right. No, that's okay. Yeah. Great questions here, and that is true. I mean, ideally, the more you can win things organically, the better, because whatever you're doing there, and that's there for a long period of time. A paid advertisement, it's there one time, and you either hit or miss. If you can win things organically, is fantastic. Now, one of the things is just understanding, especially as a small business, is hey, you need to get up on the first page, just making sure that you can get there, because one of the key things is to win organically, you need to have good content on your website that might get shown up on the page. Are you answering users' questions out there that they need? Some of it's terminology. One of the clients I've been recently using on, they were kind of using their lingo, and for the way people search online, that's not the lingo. For example, one of the things is they called it residential. Well, nobody searches things as, oh, I need this product for residential. No, they call it, I need this for my home. So one of the first things we've done is we're changing things on the website, and things would be, hey, this is for my home, not for residential. That was just their speak. So you're trying to think of different, what is the user terminology? Often we get stuck in our lingo of that. The other thing is, to your point about, hey, what do we put in for our blogs, content on the website? That's where that keyword planner I mentioned, that's a good tool, because you want to answer questions that people are asking in Google. You could put some content out there, but if nobody's searching for it, is that going to be very valuable? I've had a client that, a good portion of their blogs are getting no visits. Now they're getting one that is getting thousands of visits a month. It hit the money on what people are asking. Now, what we're working on with this client is that, well, if this is so important and so many people are interested in this, why shouldn't this content be in the core part of the website? So that's one of our things. That's one of the things we're working on. Their website's actually good. But we're trying to make it better, and we're kind of doing a refresh. And we got another priority first about addressing the customer pain points first. But one of the next things is, hey, how do we take that blog and put it into the core of the content of the website? Because if the blog is getting that much visibility and that many questions,
definitely,
how do we move that into the core? Because then organically, hopefully, we might get more people, and that might get better rankings because we're getting the right thing to the website. My recommendation there would be, think about what is the customer journey. So think about, that top of the funnel is what are their pain points and needs. And to me, that's where, and next is kind of like, hey, what are the potential solutions? Then you start getting middle of the funnel. Hey, what are your products? Then it's about you. What is your differentiation? And then that's kind of your top navigation. And think about, hey, what does the customer have to answer to get those things? And if you can start answering those questions, that can hopefully be that content to get some of that organic visibility. Now, that's number one. You got to get the right content. Now, the reality is on some of this, if you're a small business, if two companies have the same content, the one with the higher domain authority is going to win out. And domain authority is just a way for Google to kind of rank how many people trust you. And as it, most small businesses might be a 20 to 30. No, Amazon's like a 90. So if you and Amazon have the same content, Google and domain authority is basically saying, Google's saying, well, if more people are connected and linked to Amazon, that means a lot of people trust Amazon if people have sent these little things called linking to each other. So if you and Amazon have the same content, Amazon's going to be ahead of you.
Yeah.
So that's just when you could have all the at first starts getting the right content, but then there is some reality check that, hey, can I get up there in there? One of the findings I did on this fitness industry was for physical gyms, there is opportunity because that gym market is very fragmented. So there is not a lot of big players. So organically, you can get yourself up and get in the engines in some of those places, and you do have opportunity to get in there. So there was opportunity there. Now for things that were more of on the home market, like the Pelotons of the world and a lot of home gym, that's a very competitive because those are major big players battling out. Tons of competition there. But in that in more of the local gym market, there is opportunity to win in the engines organically.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The other key I'd say here is it comes back to measurement. That do your best to measure of. The measure is, once again, it's not website traffic, it's not clicks. It's, well, can you measure of how many loyal members did we get from blogs? How many loyal members did we get organically? If you can track that as well as you can and get a sense of what is the high valued activities that are leading to your new members, that's where you start seeing, because I've often seen, and I know, blogs are a way to get out there, but I've often seen where blogs are usually a lot of website traffic that comes in and they leave and they don't turn into customers. So just being mindful of, is that blog generating not just traffic, but is it helping generate customers? And it's important to track that to make sure you're investing your time in. The other thing with social media is great, and you need to do that, but social media is also mostly only your existing customers today. That's not attracting new customers, because the only people following you are probably your members and friends already, the people that already know you. So that's just one thing I try to when people talk organic, Facebook and LinkedIn, it's great and it's a good thing to be a reminder, but remember that that's probably working on your existing member base more than attracting new members.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I would say, for the most part, when it comes organic to the major social media platforms, you don't necessarily have control over, obviously, who's seeing that. So, it could be anybody.
Yeah. Well, one of the nice things, too, is you kind of get, and I talked about that market research process, are you leveraging Keyword Planner? You get it, and that might give you ideas. Once you get a content idea, you can put that, what you put on the blog can be used on Facebook, can be used on LinkedIn. Keep in mind, multi-purpose, the uses of your things are, if you got a picture of a new member or something you want to share, post it on all those sites that you can leverage it in multiple, leverage one piece of content in multiple areas.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's definitely a crucial thing. That and I like what you said, that there is a lot of potential in this space for some like the micro gyms and stuff like that, because obviously, like the big competitors for brick and mortar would be like your Planet Fitness, Gold's Gym, like places like that. Yes, they technically could serve the same person, but they're not on the same wavelength with their approach and everything, and obviously how they're particularly marketing. So there definitely is really good potential there, and I like what you brought up. In terms of being able to multi-purpose and use things differently. So I wanted to actually hit on the blog thing that you said, how it may not necessarily be driving the right type of traffic. So have you had a client where that was the case, and then what did you maybe steer them towards? Was it another organic approach?
Yeah, well, one, on a measurement standpoint, one of the things we're working on is, we're filtering the Google Analytics to just their target area, so we can see hey, what's their primary audience. If they're only in Missouri and Illinois, well, we don't want to look at Google Analytics for the whole country, because the only users that really matter are those that are in Missouri and Illinois. So we're creating a reporting that's only based on that local audience, so we don't get distracted by these people that in reality aren't potential customers, because somebody in California is not going to be using this company, and which has probably happened in the fitness industry as well. So that's where it's trying to understand. This is where one of my things is, hey, you may not have to be doing. I'm more in quality than quantity. That you may not need to be in the quantity of, say, every social media channel. Do you need to maybe be focused on which channel's working? As you start doing the data and you start seeing what's working, especially for B2C, you probably see that Facebook might work better than LinkedIn. So, hey, maybe you put more energy into Facebook. Figure out which areas. If you measure and see which areas seem to be getting the most engagement and leading to more things, maybe you can pause or stop some areas and reallocate it into those that are working. And then 2 is then, hey, now let's go back. Think about those 4 areas I mentioned to be successful. Hey, are we hitting the right target audience? If you're feeling good about that, hey, messaging, it's probably a messaging thing, is really thinking about that messaging organically, and are we hitting up, I get back to that customer journey. Are we answering questions and just rethinking the content? I use this as an example for a blog. As I was helping out a market, they had a customer, and most of their blogs were just funny, unrelated stories to the business. And it was like, guys, this is doing you nothing. I mean, it'd be like, here's a dog driving a car, brushing his teeth. Okay, well, people only come into your site to get a laugh. So it's like, hey, guys, you just think about, are you answering questions that help their needs? That's you just really need to ask yourself that question. Are your messagings there? And then, and then is it in the right channel? And then here on the website, great, you got this blog that took them there. And maybe here's the key is, hey, on your blogs, is there a call to action? What's the next step? As they come to your blog, sometimes your blogs are fine, but you're not helping them get, I always say a blog should lead you into the core of your website. That, hey, okay, you want to learn more? Let's learn more about why our fitness approach might help with your fitness goals. And then that should drive them to your core website. So think about that. Always have that call to action ready to, make sure there's a call to action on your blogs. Even on your social media posts, have, hey, what's the call to action? Come visit us, give us a call, have some kind of call to action, help that customer with that next step.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I've seen some people, like some facilities where like they have basically like testimonials as their blogs, and I've asked them, I was like, okay, who knows these people and who's searching for them? Yeah. And obviously they can't answer that because it's nobody.
Great point.
It's not helping you at all.
Yeah.
It's great to have those testimonials, but that shouldn't be seen as obviously like the lead-in source of bringing people into your site. No,
that's a great point. That's a great point.
A type of thing, and like you said, like definitely the call to action is huge, because like I always like tell people, like your blog should be written as like basically a sales page. Like it should be seen as informative, but also it is selling them, and it's guiding them to, like you said, the next step of whatever that is in the journey for that particular person.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of say is, you think about that messaging, hey, where in the journey is it? Then that should take you to the landing page of your site based on where and the journey is. Because one of the things I see too often, sometimes people are like, oh, trial today, do that. It's like, well, have you even answered the person's question yet? You can always have a button to contact you anytime on your site. You got to have that. But to help the person get, like if you're just giving the benefits that, okay, here's the classes that can help with this. I don't know, just you got to be mindful of help answer the customer's questions. That's the key. Is what I find.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he said like right in the beginning. It's putting their voice first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so valuable.
Yeah, and that's great. Like you said, testimony. Who's searching? The blogs kind of be to get traffic to your site, but no one's searching. Who's got testimonials on this guy's site? Yeah.
I guess unless you're working with celebrities or something, but like other than that, I don't think anyone's gonna be searching for those people. Roger, this has been an amazing conversation, and you brought so many powerful insights, and I hope that you guys listening to this are really paying attention, and if you have to, re-listen to this and take notes, because this is bringing actual strategy into your approach and being able to make better business decisions, and just like Roger said multiple times, so you're not putting a lot of your efforts into categories that aren't doing anything for you. Just it makes it look like you're doing something, but you're spinning your wheels and going nowhere fast. So this has been a hugely valuable conversation to improve that particular area of your business. Now, as we work towards wrapping up the conversation, as I mentioned to you before, Roger, I like to end with this particular question of being able to see your perspective. But let's say a gym owner came to you for mentorship based on your background, your expertise. What do you feel is the most important thing for them to hear?
Yeah, I think the art of business is always there. And I'm jealous of a lot of these owners because it's cool how they see this vision and create all this, and it's amazing of what they've done and how they bring this all to light. And where I see is my thing is where I'd say is, hey, complement that art that you have with that with the data science. That science is a complementary thing to help along. It's like they always said, you don't want everyone in the room to be alike. You sometimes it helps to have that different perspective. And what I find from the data, it helps either one, it helps identify waste you didn't see. Two, it often just maybe validates where it often just validates what direction you're thinking about and just confirms it's the right thing to move forward. Where you might hem and haw, do we go to this location and take a year to decide? The data often supports and lets you know to go forward. And I just recently I got a client that one of their stores is thinking about, hey, do they maybe expand or not? And I have the data to support that. Hey, the data totally supports it. There's so much opportunity in the area. When you're ready to expand because you're outgrown your place and there's enough opportunity to go more. And then it's one the science helps find waste you may not see, can validate you to move forward quicker, and then three, just it's a different perspective and just opens up unlocks some opportunities you may not have thought of. And my big thing is that just helps, especially on, back to what I talked about earlier, two reasons why something fails. Either you didn't put a location in the right place, so you don't want to do, on the front end, get that right. And then two, just evaluating your leadership team and your people. To me, the data is all about community. It's about coaching the team, and you want to help them succeed. And the data can help you just help coach the people, and you're just trying to make the team successful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's a very powerful way to wrap up this conversation. And again, Roger, thank you so much for your time and being able to share your expertise and the dedication that you've put to your craft, because obviously it's having an effect on everyone that you're coming in contact with, and us being one of those people, being able to have you come on here and share your amazing insights.
No, thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
And for anyone that wants to continue this conversation with you, Roger, has the questions or wants to talk to you about how maybe you can help them in this particular area, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Email is rogerb@unleashinsight.com. You can also ring me at 314-276-2230. The website's unleashinsight.com, and you can also there's a contact form on there as well.
Excellent. And we'll definitely be sure to have the website link on our show notes too, so you guys can connect with Roger there. And as we always say, this is where opportunities are created, reaching out and connecting with new people, building relationships. So I hope you do take this seriously and reach out to Roger and be able to benefit obviously from his expertise and how it can help grow your business even further. And the last thing, obviously I just want to thank you, the listener, because without you, we wouldn't have a show. So I'm happy that you're looking for ways and resources to grow and improve your business. That's something that we can never stop doing on this pursuit of life and business growth. So I definitely commend you for having that type of mentality. And with that being said, I look forward to having you join us on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show. Thank you so much, and take care.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the Fitness Business Freedom Show. On behalf of Fitness Revolution and myself, we are thrilled you are looking for ways and resources to move your business forward, and we are honored to be that source for you. If you would like to receive more business building support from us, be sure to head over to the show notes and join our subscriber list and stay on top of all the industry insights that matter most to you. Now, before I close out today's show, If you found this episode beneficial in any way, I just ask you to leave us a simple review to help other gym owners find us and discover this show. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show.